Hey guys, my name is Bethany, and thank you for listening today on this little video. I just wanted to do a quick video about how God has restored my life, how He's redeemed my life, and how He has set me free from so many things, from drug addiction, from eating disorder, from a life of being promiscuous, so many things. I grew up in Franklin, Tennessee, which is right near Nashville. And around 16 or 17, I started to get involved with drugs and boys and just the whole thing. I got sucked in really quickly. I was working at Sonic, and I met a girl named Kim. She quickly became my best friend. Unfortunately, Kim was broken as I was, and she introduced me to cocaine. Cocaine quickly became my drug of choice, and it set me spinning into just a pit of darkness, into a lifestyle that I didn't really know existed. I mean, I'd heard about stuff like that, but the first time I did coke, I was hooked. I was like, this is what I want to do. I'd actually tried other drugs before. I had drank and I had tried weed, but when I did coke, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Another thing is I have a history of an eating disorder, so when I did cocaine, it suppressed that desire to eat food, because when you do coke, you just don't want to eat. It takes away all desire to eat. So that was a nice perk for me, because I was like, well, I don't have to struggle with bulimia anymore because I'm not hungry, so I don't have to throw out my food. So I share all that little history with you because when I come back to Tennessee, there are a lot of memories that come into my mind. There's a lot of things that happen when I am driving down the road. I think of this, I think of that. But as I have grown with the Lord and as I've matured and gotten older, one of the biggest things that the Lord has spoken to me is how He was always there with me, even in the pit of my despair, even in the pit of my darkness. And even to this morning, I went to my sister and brother-in-law's church, and I was driving down this certain road called Bell Road, and it was in this area called Antioch, which is where my friend Kim lived and where I, did all my stuff, all my addiction in. And as I was driving down the road, I just started tearing up because I was remembering all the times that I was so lost and I was so broken and I was so desperate to get sober and just to be with the Lord and to get my life in order. But I just didn't have the tools. I was so just messed up that I could not do it on my own. But how God always pursued me, how He was always with me, how He always had His hand over my life. And I just see this like big old hand over my life as I was wandering and screwed up and just using and bouncing from different relationships to just fill that need, that ache inside my heart. And there's this one place right off of Old Hickory Boulevard on the way to my sister's church that it's called Mercy Ministries. And I knew that it was a ministry that reached out to broken people. I don't know if it's guys and girls. I think it's just girls. But this one night in particular where I was using and I was so in need of God in that moment. But again, I was using, and so I couldn't seem to get to Him. And I pulled my little 2-door Honda Civic over and I parked in this parking lot, and I was actually rolling a blunt and smoking weed. And I just remember crying out to God, going, God, I don't know how, I don't know what, I don't know how you're going to get me out of this mess that I've gotten myself into, but Lord, please hear my cry and pull me out of this pit of despair. And I saw that little parking lot, and I was like, Lord, look at what you've done in my life. Like you've made me a woman of purity. You've made me a woman who is a woman of her word, a woman who raises her children, who loves her husband, who's faithful to one man. Like, this is all stuff that Jesus did inside of my heart. He changed someone who was so wicked and so broken and so filled with hurt and pain into a woman who is filled with His light. It's nothing I've done. It's nothing, not that I'm special or unique. It's just that Jesus plucked me out of the darkness. And there was another moment near my old house in Franklin that off of Mac Hatcher where I was high as a kite. I should have gotten pulled over. I should have gone to jail, honestly, in that moment. And I remember as I'm driving down this road higher than high, I just remember not closing my eyes, but just kind of holding my hands up to the Lord, just going, God, only you are going to be able to pull me out of this mess. Only you are going to be able to pull me out of this addiction. And he did. And it took years. It took lots of pain. It took lots of struggle. It took me fighting to get to the Lord, for the Lord fighting for me. It wasn't just me fighting. I best believe that the Lord was fighting for me, not just me for myself. And so I just wanted to share that, because during this trip, my heart is overflowing with just what Jesus has done for me. And that no matter what you're stuck in, like, I'm the least of these. Like, I'm nobody, but God called me to be somebody, because he's somebody. And he put his spirit inside of me and redeemed my life and set me on a rock that will not sink, that will not be broken, or that will fall over through the storms of life. And so I just wanted to share that today with whoever listens to this, even if it's one person or if it's 10 people or 100 people. It doesn't matter to me, because I just want to testify with what Jesus Christ has done in my life. And if he'll do it for little old me, he will do it for you, because he's a redeeming God and he loves us, and he calls us. And it didn't matter how high I got. It didn't matter if I was rolling on ecstasy or smoking weed or doing coke or what guy I was with. The Holy Spirit was always with me. He was always drawing me, and he was always wooing me back to himself, because he was a good father to me, and that's how much he loved me, and he never let go of me. And so know that wherever you are, he hasn't let you go. He hasn't left your side. He promises in his word that he'll never leave us or forsake us, and that he loves us so much. So wanted to share that with you guys today. God is so faithful. He's so good to us, and I promise you, he will never leave you or forsake you.